What is going on, everybody? Blazin here. Welcome back to the channel. And guys, today I am excited to have somebody on the channel I have watched for, oh God, years, who was actually a very big inspiration to me in becoming one of these content creators for Raid Shadow Legends. I've got OddOneGaming on the channel. OddOne, how are you doing, my man?
Thank you. I'm doing good. And first of all, you're humbling me, okay? Your words humble me. I appreciate it. I appreciate you saying that. And I'm happy to be on the channel. I'm happy to collab. I'm having a good Sunday. I hope you're having a good day as well.
I'm having a wonderful day, a wonderful day. Thank you for asking. So we recently put out kind of a similar video, and I figured, I reach out and we talk about some of the comments that we got on him, and then maybe get a different perspective from what we have. So, guys, we had each other. I picked 5 comments from my comment section on the video, which I'll put both videos in the description below if you guys want to go check them out. But I figured we'd get each other's takes. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you go first. Hit me with the one that you have.
Okay, so the first one that I will have is gonna be like this. It says the stage difficulty is okay. The champion restriction is not. Plarium were too lazy. They just put random opponent with random restriction. I'm pretty sure lots of players will face big problem on certain stage. Example, Scarab boss on D9, which was, I think that's just as you get into Dead Rise. How can we beat this boss without shield intermeter reduction?
Okay. So actually, the Scarab King one was a pretty easy boss. If you have Frozen Banshee, I did a guide on that one, and it's pretty effectively a free to play comp. As for the restrictions, I mean, yeah, early game accounts are going to be a little challenged, but I definitely feel that we needed something a little bit tougher, right? I don't know. Do you think I'm wrong in that situation?
Yeah, so I kind of agree with that. I have not played on the normal difficulty to see, but as far as I'm aware, they have the same restrictions. So I could see on normal that being a little bit of a problem, but on hard, it feels so easy. It's like you said, for example, on that one, just to like give a little bit of my perspective for that answer, I showed it in the video. I beat it with epics and below. Yeah. And I'm quite sure, I even said, I'm quite sure, I haven't not done yet, but I'm not sure if you have done it. I heard you mention, but I'm quite sure you could solo it with Frozen Banshee. Just give her a regen set, give her a blood shield, and that's it.
Yep, you definitely can. I did that. I haven't actually one of my better performing videos, to be honest.
See, exactly. I even said that, like when I did this video, I even said to people like, "Do you guys want to see me doing that?" So lots of people were like, "Yes, show it. Yes, show it." So I guess we kind of debunked that that this Scarab boss is so difficult online. That's the first one. Yeah. I do want to emphasize something, like just to be clear, like we're not going to show names of people that leave these comments. We're not trying to attack people with this one. We're just trying to give our perspective and explain, what we feel. And it's not like, oh, we're so high and mighty, we can do everything and whatnot. We're just trying to explain that some of these comments are like, you have to look a little bit more into it from our perspective when we're telling you that it's easy, because we have the knowledge of speaking that, not necessarily because we have Kraken accounts.
Right. We've played for so long, we can look at some of these things and figure out different strategies. Exactly. And so yeah, we're not attacking anybody. We're not, this is just us responding to the comments and just kind of seeing where everybody else feels like,
Yeah.
All right. So my comment for you is going to be, if you have a year-old account like mine, it can be hard because of the restrictions on what you can use. I don't have multiple 60s or every type of affinity and faction combo out there, so it can be a pain in the beep.
Yeah.
The restrictions are real. Most of the time, only 3 factions and 2 types of more diverse than Doom Tower. For sure, but not as difficult as an enemy strength. This pisses me off. I can't set teams in AI. They give you no spots for that. They are so cheap to pay for more server space.
Yeah. Okay, so for this one, I want to start towards like with the end part. So I'm not sure if having team presets would be that helpful. I don't think it's gonna help from my point of view because, well, these are like on a rotation basis, kind of like Doomfire as far as we know. So next time it's gonna come back around, it's gonna be a different one. So I don't think this is the type of content you would full auto. Like every time, like we have the auto climb for Doom Tower. I don't think this one's going to be the same. But then when it comes to the beginning of it, like you have a 1-year-old account and it can be hard. If we're talking about normal difficulty, it can be hard, but hard should be even more difficult than that. And the way that I see this one is like this. If you have a 1-year-old account and you're struggling, my question would be, do you have Lydia? Do you have Mithral? Did you start pushing Doom Tower hard? Because the way that I see this Cursed City, this is the last thing that's released based on when it opens, right? Like this opens at level 52, Hydra, Iron Twins, all the other stuff opens at level 50 and before. So the way that I see it is you should already have Lydia. You should have Faction Wars completed by the time you start trying to push this further and further. So it's like, yeah, if you don't have multiple 60s, go do Faction Wars, get your Lydia because she's going to be a game changer for this one, for Doom Tower, for everything else. And only after that you should start and try pushing this one a little bit higher. That's what I believe for this one.
Okay. Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, the champion roster is kind of a check right there for a lot of accounts. But the bigger question would be is how far are you progressed in the game? Are you currently, do you have your faction war champions? Are you in Doom Tower? Are you doing, Nightmare Clan Boss? Trying to progress your account. So maybe one of the questions might be for that is, should you be in this content for hard mode or should you be in normal?
Exactly. Or should you even try to tackle it at all?
Right.
Again. And this one actually segues perfect into my next question for you, into my next comment for you, which is pretty simple and straightforward. It says, pretty-eyed, that's what the comment says, but newer players, such as myself, will struggle due to the restrictions.
Okay. So it's more than all right. It's good. But struggling with the restrictions, again, it's speaking as somebody who's played for 4 years. I don't think this content is meant for brand new players. And I think this is something I talked about at the podcast we do on Sundays with the rest of the guys in the Knights of Teleria, that this content shouldn't have been open for brand new players coming into the game because it will be frustrating and aggravating. And it will feel like it's more of a pay-to-win content because of the gating behind of what they're doing with the champion restrictions. So I feel like that right there is I feel like he might be a little spot on with that. What do you think?
Yeah, that's definitely the truth. I think the main problem with this one is kind of the same way we had in the past with Iron Twins, Hydra, and other stuff. I feel like they open stuff like this too early. Like level 52 to open something that requires you to have tons of champions built from different factions, different affinities. That's the main problem from my point of view. It's like, yeah, you might have people that are level 52 that are ultra krakens that have all the champions, all the heroes, built up and whatnot. But for 99.99% of the player base at level 52, they're going to be able to do maybe 20 stages and that's it. And then they're going to be frustrated because they cannot do any more, and then they might even quit because of that. So I feel like that's something they should change. Like level 52 is too early. I don't know, make it 60, 70, a little bit higher. That's how I see it.
I agree. And actually, speaking about champion rosters, this is the next follow-up question here is if you have a stacked account like yours, it will be easy, but not everyone's account is stacked. Plarium catered for the whales. There would be no enjoying. Please, if you're going to do content videos, treat them like not everyone else has every champion in the game. Carry on like this, and you'll be no one else will be watching.
That's another one of the same thing. You have a stacked account, you have a fully built out account. Well, the thing is, this is the last thing that opens in the game. You're supposed to have, not a stacked account, but you're supposed to have, it kind of connects to the previous one, you're supposed to have lots of stuff built up already by this point. Because the way that I see it, it's like this. When it comes to doing content in the game, I see it like this one. 460, then start pushing some dungeons, start pushing Clan Boss, get your dungeons, especially Dragon to 20, then start working on Demon Lord. Then start pushing to 25 or trying to get to hard. Then, do a little bit of Hydra on the side, do Doom Tower normal, get Lydia, do Doom Tower hard, and then start focusing more about hard, brutal, Nightmare Hydra, and Cursed City. Because the the thing is, like, as an example, I had my free-to-play series, okay? In 8 months, I had Lydia. Okay, free-to-play, completely free-to-play. It was a lot of grind. I did have a few lucky pulls, but it's not like, I showed at the end that I have a ton of legendaries that I did not use. But it's all about time, and because this is the last thing that opens, it's supposed to be endgame content. So at the same time, it's like, how do you say this so you're not, you're trying to cater to everybody? Somebody that's free-to-play or early player will not be able to do this one, but then people that are endgame, which is like, from what I've seen, most content creators did a poll where they check with people, how far ahead are you? Like, how much time have you been playing for? And over 50%, if not more, of everybody's polls were saying 2 years or more.
Yeah.
So that to me says that that's the majority of the player base, right? At least the watches YouTube. So if that's the majority of people, 2 years, you should have a fleshed out roster, something like ours, and that means you're gonna beat everything else pretty easily. So it's like, how's the fun? Why should endgame people suffer or have everything to be too easy? It's kind of like, okay, so me, for playing for 4 years, what am I being rewarded with? Nothing, basically, just because I'm endgame. I'm not supposed to enjoy the game. I'm not supposed to have content that's relevant for me, that should give me a challenge. Free to play, early or like early mid game players, there's so much to do in the game. Why would you want this one to be another headache to add on top of everything else,
Right. And I think you hit the nail on the coffin right there, where early game up to like level 50, there is so much to do in this game. I can't say don't give them a little bit of a taste. Normal mode is great, but I feel like putting them into hard mode is, we complain about the time. And so when it comes to that, it's like, you really need to be spending 6, 7, 8 hours a day playing this game. It's kind of one of those things.
Exactly. That's the thing. We definitely do not want to have that. And I think actually, I was just looking now that I'm saying, I think I even had somebody that had a comment like that, which I did not screenshot, but I'm going to have it. I'm going to read it for you now. So it's the next comment said something like this. Yes, it's easy, but it is okay to be like that. It's respecting our time, and I can't do bullshit 28 days a month, almost on a daily basis. It's respecting our time. It's okay if there are 3-4 stages that are tricky. This is already on top of the other time wasting bullshit.
Yeah, I saw that comment actually on your video, because I was trying to prepare, looking at them, and I feel like that player is right. The game does take a lot of time, and it's definitely something that we can.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to put in, especially as content creators. I mean, I find myself playing this game for almost a full-time job sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's just too much. So do early game players need to be doing this much? Should they even be investing their time in this? Yes, the rewards are great, but how much time are they going to be able to put in this?
Exactly. And it's kind of like, that's when what I said earlier about opening a level 52 should not be the case. Because if you think about it, by level 52, you're going to have Demon Lord, Dungeons, Arena, Tag Team Arena, Live Arena, Hydra, Iron Twin, Sand Devil, Doom Tower. It's like, I feel like it's overwhelming for players. I feel like it can be confusing. There's too much happening. You don't know what to focus. You don't know it. I feel like that's the problem. I feel like they should just flesh it out, open at later stages, because otherwise people start investing it everywhere. And then they're just going to be like, and the thing is like this, you have the challenges and the progress missions, which don't guide you that well most of the time. So it's like, I'm quite sure that their analytics say that most people quit after 6 months, they quit. Because there's so much that opened, you cannot do everything, you get frustrated, you don't know what to do, and then you just quit.
Right, yeah, I agree. I agree perfectly right there. So this next one is it's kind of a spicy one here. Good Lord, you content creators are out of touch with your customers. The majority of people are enjoying this and have praised the content. Wait till you get to higher stages before crying.
Oh boy. So I do get this one. I do get this type of comment sometimes in my videos, not necessarily on this one, but the fact that we're out of touch. And I feel like people tend to say this one when you are not doing stuff that's relevant to them. If you're not doing stuff that's relevant to them, or if you have an opinion that's not like theirs, then you are out of touch. But at the same time, they have to understand that we're trying to do videos from all perspectives, from endgame, because like I said earlier, we have most of the people that are still playing and watching YouTube are playing for over 2 years now. So that's going to be relevant to us. But then at the same time, if we try to do free-to-play stuff, it's It's too hard in a sense because, like you said, playing grade is like a full-time job. So trying to keep up with the second account as well, to try and keep that one relevant, it's pretty hard. But even if we do that, like I had on my free-to-play series, okay, this year, even if we do that and show stuff and how it can be done, the comments tend to turn into like, oh, but you're lacking your pools. Oh, but so it's like, you can never win. You just cannot win. I feel like we always try, at least from the way that I do my videos, when I try to explain stuff or do guides, whenever I show a team that's, especially like on a boss, okay, like we have the Scarab King, right? We had the one that we discussed about and most people got stuck. When I make a video, like when I showed my video and I just threw in there like my epics and rares without doing the solo, explained the simple concept behind it. You need to destroy the max HP, you need to have shields or blood shield accessories, you need to have turn meter control if you can, and then survivability, healing or regen set. So why are we out of touch when we're basically showing the team, we're explaining the concept, but then it's they're not happy. I feel like that's the problem. Most of the time people get stuck on the champions. It's like, oh, you use that one. And they stop listening. They don't listen to us explaining the concept, what gear we suggest, what other heroes, because most of the time we suggest other heroes. So I definitely don't agree with this one. I definitely do not agree with this one.
I will say I think a lot of it has to do with how long the content creator's been playing Raid. More newer content creators are probably a lot more early game and can relate to like the player that's starting right now. But for us, I mean, I've played for almost 4 years, and you've done just about the same, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So for us, it's a little more difficult to try to put ourselves into what a new player is right now, because when we started playing Raid, we didn't have half this stuff. Time wasn't a huge thing, right? We had maybe stage 20 dungeons and a couple of other things.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely a different one.
So I think that has to kind of do with it. And again, the longevity of us playing, we have to kind of cater to everybody for content.
Yeah. Okay, so I have another one that I think it might be like similar to what we had previous ones, but it says, on my free-to-play account, the roster check is a big problem. Gear isn't an issue, but gearing faction wars champs and using level 40s in some of these boss fights is very difficult. The main stages are easy, but the restriction on the boss levels make it pretty rough on a normal account.
Okay, so I saw this comment and I was thinking about how I would be able to tackle this question. Now, trying to do anything on hard mode with this, with level 40 champions, might not be obtainable.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to work out. Could we do it with minimal resources? Yes. I mean, I leveled out Jolton to level 50 to be able to take down the Frost Spider, just because of that 4-turn HP burn.
Yeah.
But I think what we're going to have to start doing is looking at the utility and thinking of outside the box from some of these champions, which is what I'm currently doing on one of my accounts. And it's challenging, but I don't think the roster check is going to be that big of an issue if we start, again, looking outside the box on a lot of these skill kits and taking a second look at some of these champions that we just feed as a 3-star or 4-star chicken.
And I feel like that's the reality, and what people might have to do. So what I'm saying now is not for endgame people, because most of us are like endgame if you played over 3-4 years, you're gonna have most of the stuff built out. But if you're somebody that's early towards mid game, like you said, looking for those hidden gems that can provide you with the stuff that you need might actually be the key. Like, as a simple example, I feel like this one's kind of the same way Hydra was. When Hydra was released, but then 6 months later, they introduced the opportunity to provoke the head of decay, right? When that happened, basically a lot of useless champions that had provoke in their kit became amazing. People like Scholar Vargal, people like War Chief, they have a reason to be built. It's the same thing over here, and that's how like people have to look at it, as an opportunity of like, okay, what champion will I build that's going to help me maybe in Faction Wars, but is going to help me over here as well? Maybe it's going to help me in Doom Tower, but over here as well. So that's the thing. And again, I'm going back to my thing of this is supposed to be the last thing. From my point of view, again, by the time you get to do this more, you should have already finished, like I said, Faction Wars. And I forgot to mention, this is why I came back to this. Forgot to mention earlier, we have the secret rooms, okay? On normal and hard. So if you already started doing those and already started building people for those, like, that's why I prepared for something like this, because I built lots of random restrictions, all rares and whatnot, for the secret rooms in Doom Tower normal and hard. And basically that opens before city of Cintranos, before the Curse City. So again, it has to do with fleshing out your roster, getting more and more people built, and that's why people that are still in the first year of playing, or maybe year and a half or earlier, they're not going to be able to do this, and it makes sense because there's only so much champion training you can do because you have to farm gear and whatnot as well.
I agree with that, and that's a great point on the secret rooms. A lot of us will build champions for multiple roles in the game, and building them for the secret rooms, you kind of just like, oh well, it's just Doom Tower. And as somebody myself who's completed all of those secret rooms, I have a lot of these champions built, which is why I'm able to do some of this stuff and kind of be able to say it's achievable. Actually, this is a great lead off to the last question I got here, or one of the questions I got here. Not everyone has the same champions you are. Try using lower level and see if it's so easy for you.
Okay, so this one kind of comes back to one of the points I mentioned earlier. It's people get stuck on that. People get stuck on the champions that we use, and it's kind of like their cloud is just, their mind is just clouded, like their judgment stops there. Like I said, I'm quite sure you do the same. And like I've seen almost every single content creator that I watch, and myself included. When we make a video, we don't only talk like champions. We explain the reason why we're using that champion. Same as I said with the Scarab King. So this one's the same principle. Like I even did that in the video, I think, from which I picked my comments. I even went and just tried to see, okay, what's the lowest I can do? I even went and picked, oh yeah, let me just go with fusions. Let me just go with previous fusions, epics. Let me go with, so I'm even trying to like dumb it down, and it's still easy for me. That's what it's like. Yeah, it comes to the champions. Of course, we do have the champions, but it's not all about it, okay? Like maybe people definitely need to start listening more into actually what we explain about when we do it in our content, not just be like, oh, he has legendaries, I'm stop watching, this is whale account, this is not free to play, It's that's the main problem that honestly I've seen for most of these ones. It's people get stuck on the champions and don't listen about the mechanics that you need in the game.
Yeah, I'm feeling that myself. Like, I'm kind of explaining every video I put out. What I try to do is give you the concept of what the team is designed about or around before, and then you can use to substitute a lot of the champions. I always try to give some substitutions at the end of my video of champions that you can use. Most of the time, my retention rate is like 4.5 minutes. So after that, people click off. So they don't get to that part, I feel sometimes.
Exactly. That's the point.
So maybe we'll start putting that at the front. Who knows?
Yeah, it's like, if you want to beat this, listen to everything we're saying. Ignore the champ. I even say that sometimes. I'm not even kidding, Blazin. I even say that sometimes. I even say it like I show the team, and I even say, you do not need this champion. And I still get the comments of like, oh yeah, but use that person. He said it in my video. I say you don't need that one. Oh man.
Yeah. All right. So this one right here, kind of sums up kind of a lot of how the community feels. It says, "Will perspective. Let's watch you say the same thing when you hit the fourth area, which is Soulcross."
Soulcross. Okay, so I have not actually gotten there because I was just basically opening every single boss. I did see that there are a few ones that seem more complicated or seem more difficult based on the restrictions, but at the same time, Soulcross is just extra stuff. It's like, it's not mandatory for the main content, If you want to beat, which is the main big boss, if you want to beat Amias, the Lunar Archon, which is what the priority, from my point of view, of this whole content is, you don't even need to touch Soulcross. So that one, we could just ignore it. I don't see that, oh my god, mind-blowing rewards. Like, there's no sacreds, there's no mythic books, there are some of the new things, some of the new rewards, so I could even ignore that if I want to, even as a whale account, because it's not priority for my content. So, but I'm quite sure I can still beat it, So I'm quite sure I can still beat it. It might be a little bit more difficult, yes, compared to the other stuff, but I still believe that it's not going to be that bad. Like, I even had this type of comment myself. Somebody was like, 99.9% sure you're not going to be able to beat the whole thing. And I just replied with challenge accepted. It's like, why should be only like 10, 20 stages be difficult, Why should that be the only difficulty for people that have been playing for a while? But at the same time, I think that the whole problem with this whole concept, and I think the whole reason why the two of us, but I'm quite sure I've seen some other, like I've seen Matt Capper and some other people say the same things. But I think the main problem with this one is they should have come with 3 difficulties from the beginning. Because I feel like this one's so easy that obviously we're just gonna get bored. You know, it's just gonna be like, oh, it's easy, it's fine, I beat it.
You know,
So,
I couldn't disagree with that comment before. 3 difficulties off the bat would have been the better situation for us, not waiting 6 months. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's fine. That's okay. I just had to have a sip of water as well. But so we are aware that they said there's going to be at least another difficulty. There's going to be some new bosses. So I guess that's why it's the disappointed of this. It's a bit disappointing for people like us and myself. Like I've been saying in my videos, honestly, and maybe that's why some of the people hate on me a little bit more. But it's become Raid has been feeling stale for the last year. You know, it's feel like everything they introduced was kind of like. Nah, like ever since after everything they released after Hydra, because Hydra was a bit difficult, it was annoying, it was a challenge for the community, for people to do. Everything they released after that was like sorted in a couple of days, and that's it. And it became boring. Like I log in my account, I do a bit of stuff, and that's it. And then this one comes out. This was I even said this is gonna make or break Raid. That's what I said, my opinion. And so far, it seemed boring. Like I'm bored. It's like it doesn't give me excitement. Like, oh my god, how am I gonna tackle this one? You know.
Yeah, I think to echo on that right there, I was kind of looking for something that's going to put me in and make me feel like I'm going to, you know, have to sit down and look at a lot of this stuff and say, this is what I need to do. Now, granted, I took a step back and, you know, I have a viewer that gave me his account to do a lot of account work on. So I've been trying to use that, which is like a 3 million player power with very limited champions, so I'm putting myself to the test there. But I feel like, you know, if they had released that 3rd level, you know, for the endgame players, because not everybody, you know, needs to be able to reach every difficulty right off the start. And I think that's one of those things where we all kind of, you know, understand right there, right? Like there's some content that we need to work up to, and there's some content that, you know, we should just be paced through. But yeah, I feel like that is going to be that's how it should have came out. Now, as for the challenge, I feel the only boss that is going to be kind of a hectic is going to be El Name, because he's at stage 9 of Soulcross, and the champion pool is very limited to what you're gonna have, and if you don't have Cardiel for a Revive on Death, it's gonna be nearly impossible, I feel, for a lot of the player base. Have you taken a look at that yet?
Yeah, I'm just looking now, and I feel like there was another one that could be useful in here. What's his face? If he's available, I'm trying to look. So for Revive, you definitely would want to have some sort of a Revive on Death in there, but is Light Sword not available? I'm just thinking about that.
Lightsworn?
Yeah, I'm just trying to. I'm going over there. I'm looking like Lightsworn could be the
Yep,
response
he's available
to that one. Well, there's your Revive on Death.
Okay.
As an A, we Revive on Death with increased defense.
Oh no, he's not available. Sorry, he's not.
No,
available
he's not available.
Because it's attack and support champions.
Attack and support. I think he's defense then, right?
Yep.
So that's what the difficulty might be. Do you have a Revive on Death champion that you can bring, or if not, the other option might be trying to bring some revivers that can do it. But then you have people like what's her name, like Cardinal.
Yep.
I'm sure we can do it. Cardinal and. Oh yeah, I was just gonna be again like Godseeker for the Revive on Death passive. She's not that available.
No.
But like yeah, this one looks like a bit of a difficulty. That could be challenging, but at the same time, you know what I remember what I mentioned earlier. Look at the rewards.
Right.
Do I really care about a little bit of extract? It doesn't stop me from doing, you know, anything like from doing the boss. Doesn't attract me to do it. I can just skip it.
Right.
I can just not do it, and it is what it is. Like yeah, that is a little bit of a challenge, but the challenge that we would get should have a little bit of meaning behind it, okay? And just to touch on what you said earlier about difficulty, I'm not saying like don't open for new players, don't give them the opportunity. Yes, let them do this, let them be able to experience this and play with this as well. Maybe it shouldn't open at level 52, it should open maybe at level 60. By that time, they should have more people in the roster. But at the same time, it just feels like okay, you cater to new mid, but then like people that are end game are gonna be bored again. It's like because what do? I'm not pushing Plat as an example anymore because. It's a Welfest, I cannot compete with the Krakens. I'm not doing 3v3 as much because Arena's not my thing. Hydra Clash, I'm doing it. I have full auto Hydra teams. So what's the challenge for me in this game? You know, it's like I have nothing to do. I have nothing to do because everything is on full auto farm for me.
Right.
So it's like, and how am I enjoying this? Like, oh yeah, I'm quite sure if I stay and do fjords, I can be that Alname. I'm quite sure I can be the sand devil over there. I just have to find a few things. And you know what? A good example of how you can do this, how you can get this sorted, how to fight it, is just go over there. You know, because most stages the game has the option to give you help. Go in there and click teams of the week. Or open up hellhades.com. I'm not sure if they implemented that. Go to hellhades.com, open their extractor, see if you can select that stage and suggest teams. Shows you what you have on your account, job done. So, you know, if you're somebody that you feel like you're stuck and you don't want to theory craft yourself, that's what you can do. Or like if you feel like you cannot do it after theory crafting.
I'm looking at a lot of the teams over here in global rankings, and they are all using Cardiel. So
yeah, one that I'm seeing here is without Cardiel. There's Nekmothar. There's what's his name? The poison.
Chagor.
What's the Chagor? Yep. Mordecai, Python, and then there's Fushan.
Oh, yeah.
And then another one lower, no Cardiel. Again, I feel like Python is the MVP because of his damage mitigation. Maybe you can actually soak up the damage. And again, Python was the previous fusion.
Yeah.
So hopefully lots of people have him. But like, yeah, there's a lot of Cardiels, but there are still options without them.
Yeah, nope. Yeah, I see there's one with like Osiris Male, Archbishop, Python, Venus, Chagor. So,
yeah.
I think it'll definitely be something we can do. It's you know, there just may not be a great free to play friendly team. But you know, wait for the content creators, wait for the people out there that are doing this content or doing this stuff to you know, come up with something a little easier for you guys.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, there's one thing that I do want to mention, which kind of ties into one of the comments that I guess I kind of agree with. The waves themselves, okay, the usual, the normal stages, yeah, they should be a little bit easier, shouldn't be as difficult. But when I go into a boss and I click and just throw random 4 people and I kill it, that does not feel fun, you know? That definitely does not feel fun. Or when I go to the one, like we mentioned earlier, the Scarab D9, and I'm looking and get it, and then I know I can solo it to Frozen Branchy again. It's on hard, you know, it's on hard, and I can solo it with a rare. I do need to require certain gear, but, you know, you've been playing for a while if you're trying to do hard, and it becomes easy to solo. Where's the difficulty in that? You know, what's the enjoyment in that?
Yeah, I don't want to say we shouldn't be able to solo some of the stuff, but we should have a little more of a team building strategy behind everything, right? Don't make it not accessible to everybody. Like I feel normal mode should have no restrictions. Let the player base get in, get some of those rewards because they will help improve their accounts.
That's true.
But hard mode, yes, I agree. You know, it should be more difficult. And then I feel like they should have just came out with brutal right off the bat. No waiting 6 months down the line.
Exactly. You know what my strategy was for this for this Caravan, honestly? I just put a team together and then I went and put a blood shield on everybody. That was my strategy.
Kind of like normal.
Is that all I have to do? That's all my strategy. That's all the difficulty. It's like, you know, like I said, I have people available. I had Seifi, I had Rotos in there, I have Supreme Galix, 2 of them, I have Ronda. I could put all of them together to just fight this boss. But I was like, no, let me try and make it relatable. Went epics and below, just threw them in there. Then I went and got myself. I don't even have any turn meter control in this team. I guess what's her name? Ursula has a little bit on the A1, and it's like 50% chance to do 10%. I just threw that team, gave everybody blood shield, and that was it. You know, and this is again having blood shield available on every single one of your champions. That's what be like. Oh yeah, but you play for a while. That's why I'm saying this is supposed to be for something that, you know, people start playing later stage. You open up CVC week 1. Are you gonna get the good RNG of getting a blood shield accessories every time? No, but if you play for a year and a half, 2 years, you're gonna get more and more blood shield accessories, which are gonna help you with this one. Same principle with other stuff. It's supposed to be a thing that's for the long run. It's not supposed to be, from my point of view, this is not supposed to be, as soon as you open it, you beat it. You open it, you beat it. You do not do that with Hydra. You do not do it with everything else. So, yeah, it's supposed to be more difficult for early one, but at the same time, it's supposed to be a little bit more difficult for the end game ones.
Right. It should be something you work on to complete. I mean, I remember when Hydra came out, I think it took me almost 2-3 months before I got up to Nightmare. And again, I'm a whale account. It took me that long to get it. I don't feel like we'll get the same satisfaction with this. Maybe when they come out with the newer level,
That's the best point you made. Well done. So that's the best point. It was the same for me with Hydra. So when Hydra came out, it took me like 3 or 4 months to get to Nightmare. And like you said, maybe, you know what? Yeah, I can call it a whale account because I spent a few $1,000s over the 4 years. I also do get content creator perks. So I can call mine a whale account, I guess. But it took me 3 months, 4 months. Did I complain? No, I had a challenge. I had something to look forward to. And then this one comes out and I'm like full autoing everything. It's like, really? Really? What's the fun in this? What's the fun in this?
Yeah, it definitely, yeah, I can't say anything else about it that we haven't
like,
already beaten the hammer
yeah,
with.
exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So Odd One, thank you very much for coming on the channel, man. But before I let you go, I love to do shout outs on the channel. You know, it could be another content creator, it could be somebody from your community, anybody you want. Do you have a shout out?
Okay, this one put me quite a little bit on the spot, and the reason is, like I did mention before the stream, that I've been working so much on my other channel as well that I've maybe not been as active or did not have as much time to check every single one of YouTube channels from other people. So I'm not sure I mean, there's plenty of really amazing new content creators that I've seen. Lots of new ones that joined the CC program. I feel like it's so much happening that's almost everybody knows about everybody. So I guess, you know what, I'm gonna just be random. I'm gonna do it the weirdest way, the other way around, to where maybe other people do it. So maybe other people give shout outs to newer ones, up and coming and stuff like that. I want to give a shout out to Hell Hades today, okay? And the reason for that is I just want to give him a shout out because he's the reason why I'm here today. He's the reason that everything that's happening in my life is happening, or like a big part of the reason, because he was my, like, same way you said it, I was a little bit of an inspiration for you to start doing this. Hell Hades was that person for me, okay? Because I was watching him. I always enjoy playing games. I did DM him asking like, oh yeah, I would like to do this one. What do you suggest? He was kind enough and took some time and be like, oh yeah, gave me some tips and tricks. And, you know, one thing led to another. And now I'm doing this as a full-time job, which is a dream job. I married the love of my life, Ivy League Gaming. We're expecting a child again. So I'm basically living the dream because of the inspiration that Hell Hades was for me. So that's why this one is going to be to Hell Hades. He's not just an amazing content creator, he's an amazing human being. So if people ever still judge him, like I'm always going to get defensive and annoyed, because I know he has an amazing character. You know, he's not the guy that, he has massive success, but he's not arrogant. He's still a modest person. He's still nice. He still speaks. He's still a human being first. So shout out Hell Hades. He's amazing. Love the guy.
I could not disagree anymore. You know, when I first started doing all of this, I did reach out to him. You know, I'm like, this guy's got like 100,000 followers and some. He's not going to answer me.
Exactly.
No, it very, like, he was like, hey, Blazin, how's it going? You know, great stuff. And it was really helpful. And I was really like surprised. I was like taken back. I'm like, oh man. So yeah, no, huge shout out to Hell Hades. I mean, everything he's done for the community has just been awesome as well too.
He's amazing. Love the guy. He's even been to my wedding. Like, come on, he's been to my wedding.
Do you have anything else you want to let the community know before I let you go?
I just want to say like this to the community, because it's since the subject was a bit touchy with comments. Please try to think twice sometimes when you leave comments, because I've noticed, because of the staleness and people maybe getting a little bit bored with content, the community has gotten a little bit more upset, and sometimes it reflects in the comments, and people are getting rude sometimes. Please consider, if you're trying to be mean or whatever, or if you want to leave feedback, don't be rude about it. Be nice. Remember, you're replying to a human being. We are human beings as well as content creators. Even if you do not agree with us, please remember, we are human, okay? That's all I want to ask.
Definitely can't echo that sentiment enough. You know, we're not just machines. We do have feelings, and you know, some of the things we can put up with, some of the things we can't. And you know, sometimes things do get to us. But I will say, you know, just try to be respectful when you leave a comment. And I have no problem in any one of my videos discussing any comments out there with anybody, as long as we can have a reasonable, respectful conversation, you know?
Exactly.
So, Odd One, again, thank you very much for coming on the channel, man. I am so appreciative of this collab and being able to meet you. Guys,
thank you for having me.
Thank you. As always, much love, much appreciation. Be safe, be well, be good to each other. We'll catch you guys next time.